Certainly one of the most important segments of our society in an election year are the elder citizens, the people over 65. Right now we're going to tap the wisdom of one of these elderly citizens. Sitting next to me on the front porch of this old folks' home is Miss Granny Frickert.
Call me Maudie.
All right, Maudie. Before I ask you your views
The
on...
gate attendant calls me Maudie.
You're friendly with
He's
him.
a nice young buck.
Well, I was wondering, what's it like, Maudie, living here in this old folks' home?
Look at the veins in my hand.
They stand out.
They tell a story, don't they?
What are these people like in the old folks' home? I was wondering, what is that man doing down by the brook, for instance? Is that one of the...
George, what is he doing down by the brook? Shame on you, Eddie. That's what's killing all the fish.
I guess that's one of the activities here.
That's the thing I'd like to talk about, conservation.
What are your views on conservation?
That's one of them.
I see. Maudie, I suppose you're quite interested in the progress of the Medicare bill that's before us?
Yes, I am. We're not getting no help at all. We have a young doctor come up with a little capsule of sugar pills, and he says, "How are we all feeling today?" And we all go, "Ooey, ooey." He looks at his clock and cuts.
That's the extent of your...
That's the extent of our therapy, medicine, and everything.
Wow.
They're just waiting for us to turn in, that's all. They don't fool me.
Doesn't sound fair, Maudie.
Boy, it doesn't sound fair. It's ridiculous.
Actually, you look in quite good shape.
I feel like a bandit.
What would you like to see in a presidential candidate, Granny?
I'd like to see a vigorous man with a lot to say, a strong man, fella that's kind of, a swinger. You know what I mean by that, don't you?
A swinger?
A swinger.
An active person socially, is
You
that it?
better believe it. Active? You're putting me on. How old are you?
Well, we're on the air, Granny.
How old are I? Couldn't care less. How old are you?
Well, I'm 36.
Wonderful. I'll see you down by the brook. You like to have an old lady kiss you?
Not while he's down there. Well, listen, Granny.
Sweet man.
What are some of the things in this election year that you would advocate as an old person? What would you like done for you?
I'd like some money sent to me regularly, other than Social Security. You can't feed sparrows on that cash. I'd like about an even 10 grand a year. I don't want to always go to Fort Lauderdale for a weekend, especially in July.
I see.
My nephew always sends me down there to some little motel, lets
The
me
low
sit
rates.
out in a camp chair. That's no fun. I want to see the world.
What would you do with your 10 grand?
That's my business. I'd blow it in any direction I wanted to. I haven't got too much time. I'm 91 years old.
I see.
I'm a hip old lady. There's nothing decayed up here.
Well, this is a story about Granny Frickert. A lot of people ask me, where did you get the character Granny Frickert? That last name you don't play with. But that's why I took it. Just enough so you don't, cared enough to send the very best. But this is a character of a lot of older women that I've met. Many of them relatives who, God bless them, have passed on to the great pad in the sky. But that's how I came to get the character, for what it's worth. But this is a story of the oldest airline stewardess. And so the announcer says this evening on our program, Watch Out, we have with us Miss Maud Frickert, the oldest airline stewardess in the world. Maud, welcome to our program, Watch Out. And watch out what you say.
I will. I'll do what I can,
Is it true, Maud, that your background was surrounded by aviation or people that were interested in aviation? Isn't that true?
Yes, it is. You see, originally, I'm from Murleyville, Ohio. And we used to have, I'll never forget, Mama put it up there in the living room, was a great, huge picture of the Kitty Hawk flight. And there was, on either side of this little nothing airplane was a picture of Orville and Wilbur. Gee, we always used to look at it real hard. That was all we had to look at. They didn't like Pa or Uncle Ed, so they just put up the Wright brothers. Yes.
Well, how did you get your start?
Well, I tell you, my eldest brother, Roger Maynard, Gene, I'll never forget. But you see, the three names, we didn't know what the devil to call him. We thought he was a girl for the first year. I'm kidding. Mama didn't know. Toward the end she did. But at any rate, he was a little off, I think is the term. He never hurt nobody. But he used to wander a lot, you know, and he used to run up to a groundhog and say, in May, "It's the 1st of February." He had a funny sense of humor. And one day he said to me, "Maudie, I'm going to fly. Honest to Pete, I'm going to fly." I said, "I believe you can, Maynard. I've seen you do a lot of wild things. I think you can do this." We went up to Willard's Bluff, good 2.5 miles back our place. You passed by the little house with the half moon there, and we got up over the hill, and he'd go up to a cow and say, "Hi there, Mr. Cow." Strange humor. And he always had a little message, you know. Would turn to a bunny and say, "Hi, Fox." This is why we kept him around cutting the grass a lot. So we went up to Willard's Bluff, and there he stood. Never forget him. Fine-looking man. He was 41 at the time. A little bit of gray in his hair. Had a bill that wouldn't quit. Yeah. Had a 14 waist. I seen him one time swimming in the swimming hole. That's how I know. No, yeah. He'd scotch-taped 146 pigeons to his arms. And he took get to believing my own stuff. He said, "I know I can do it, Maudie. I know I can." I said, "Don't repeat yourself, Maynard. Just do it." And he got a running jump. And he was airborne, I think is the expression, for about a good 20 seconds. And then some kid from out of nowhere throwed a bag of popcorn in a stone quarry and he bashed his brains out.